As a new blogger, there are a lot of different blogging mistakes that you can make in the beginning. So for today's video, I want to go over the top 5 mistakes that you do not want to be making as a brand new blogger. When you first start, everything is exciting, but it's also really overwhelming. You're probably asking yourself a lot of questions like, where do I start blogging? What blogging tools do I invest in? When am I going to start making money? And am I even doing any of this right? I started my blogging journey way back in 2017, and the current blog that I have right now has been going since 2019, and I went full-time in 2020. So I have made a lot of these mistakes myself, and I know how to help you avoid these mistakes as well. Now, the first big mistake is starting on a free blog. It can be really tempting to start on a free blog because you don't even know if this is going to work yet. You have no idea if you're going to be making money, if you're going to stick with this, how long it's going to take for you to make money, if that is one of your goals. You really don't know much when you start, but honestly, if you plan to do this for a full-time job, starting a blog on a free website like Wix, Squarespace, Blogger, even WordPress.com, which is the free version of WordPress, it's just a big mistake if you plan to make money with this, at least. If you plan to be a hobby blogger and you just want to do it for fun, the free blogs are perfect. They're actually where I started out, but that's because I didn't actually know the difference. I didn't realize there was one, so I started out on WordPress.com and I couldn't figure out why none of it looked like the professional bloggers that I looked up to until I realized that they are doing their blogs on WordPress.org, which is the self-hosted version of WordPress. So if you want to look like the professional bloggers that you look up to, WordPress is really the way to go, and you want to do the self-hosted version, which we are going to talk about. And there's a few reasons why specifically that you want to avoid this. And the first one is, like I mentioned, free blogs are not as customizable, so they don't look as professional as all of these sites that you look up to. When you use WordPress.com, if you use the complete free version, you can't download plugins, which is a lot of the times what the bigger sites like mine use to make their blog look the way that they do. And you have to upgrade to like the business plan, and maybe I think there's an enterprise plan as well in order to be able to download plugins. So you're paying for it, but it's still not going to be the same as if you had a self-hosted site. And you also don't get a custom domain name unless you pay for it on the business plan. So for example, mine, which is sarahmarie.blog right now, would be sarahmarie.wordpress.com or .blog or whatever. So you can't get rid of that .wordpress.com unless you pay for it. And companies are less likely to work with you if you have that free domain name and they see that you have put no money into this. It doesn't look very professional, so they're not going to be more likely to work with you. So all in all, free blogs are really just less appealing despite the benefit that you have of them being free. And it's really a downgrade if you ask me, so it's still not even a benefit in my eyes. On the other hand, the downside to a paid blog is you have to pay for it. And there definitely is a lot more maintenance that goes into a paid blog, but it's really as much maintenance as you decide to put into it. Like if you want to have these really fancy plugins that require, setup, or you want to have like a theme that you install yourself as opposed to paying someone to do it, like it's as complicated as you make it. So it's really not a huge deal in my mind if you want to be like super hands-off and just like download a theme, start blogging, make it super uncomplicated, then you can do that and you still get a self-hosted site with a bunch more perks. And there are so many different free resources out there for how to set up a blog that even if you did struggle with how to set up a WordPress blog, there are so many resources that it would be easy to figure out too. And if you're looking for the step-by-step method for how to get a blog up and running and started, I have a free Start a Blog crash course that is 5 days long, and you can get your blog up and running in literally 5 days. So I'll leave the link to that down below if you want to sign up for that. But I want to talk a little bit more about the self-hosted sites and what the actual benefits for them are so that you can get a good picture of like the pros and cons. And the big thing is you own your site. WordPress.com, if you have the free version, it owns your site. So if they want to take it down for whatever reason, then they can do that. I don't really know why they'd want to take it down, if I'm totally honest with you, but they could if they wanted to. Whereas your self-hosted website, you are paying for it. You could do whatever you want, whenever you want, however you want, and it is yours. You actually own it because you are paying for it. And the customization options are literally limitless. Like genuinely, they are limitless. You can put any theme that you want on there. You can do whatever you want. There are no limits to what you can do. The only limit is what can you do specifically. Like if you don't have the skill to do something, then you can't do it unless you hire somebody out, of course. So like even that really isn't a limitation because you can still hire people out to do what you don't know how to do. You can install whatever theme, you can install whatever plugins, literally anything. And Google will think more highly of your site as well. It'll rank it a little bit better and things like that. It's not going to be a huge difference, I would imagine, but it's still Google's going to think more highly of your site. Your monetization options are going to be limitless as well. If you want to do affiliate marketing, you're not going to worry about getting declined specifically because you have a free site. You could do your own products, which if you do WooCommerce, you can sell products directly on your site, have companies work with you, do sponsorships. You could do your own client work, so many options. And you'll also get your own domain name as well. If you go with a company, a hosting company like SiteGround, which is the hosting company that I recommend, you will be able to have your own domain name. You can get also your own free professional email as well. So you won't have a Gmail. Like my email is sarah@sarahmarie.blog. You get a domain email when you sign up through a company like SiteGround for free, which is really nice when you're working with brands because you don't have to give them a Gmail. You can give them a more professional email address. So that's one of the things that I really like about SiteGround being your hosting company. And if you do want to check out SiteGround, I'll be leaving a link to that down below in the description. They're the company that I've been with since I started my self-hosting journey, so they're always what I recommend. But if you want a more beginner-friendly and cheaper version, Bluehost is also another option that I've been playing around with and seeing if I like Bluehost a little bit better than SiteGround. So Bluehost is another option for a self-hosting company because I hear that they are a lot cheaper and more beginner friendly than SiteGround. So I'll leave the link to that one down below too, because they might be a little bit better for an absolute beginner. I could go on and on, but self-hosted is just the way to go. That's the bottom line. Now, mistake number 2 that bloggers make is not having their legal pages set up. That is an important detail that I think gets completely overlooked because when you're first starting out, you're not really thinking about the legal side of blogging, but there still is one, and you really need to make sure that you have that set up. Because there have been stories that I hear of people not having their legal pages set up and someone suing them and them losing a lot of money. Because you don't want to be liable for the things that you say on your site. You don't want to give advice to somebody and then them take it and it goes horribly wrong and they sue you for, well, they told me to do it, so because they told me to do it, I can sue them. So you want to get your legal pages set up just in case as a precaution. And the ones that you're going to need is a terms and conditions page, a disclaimer page, and a private policy page. I got mine from a legal bundle template from this lawyer. This is where I hear all of these stories from of people getting screwed over because they did not have their legal pages set up. She's a full-time lawyer, part-time blogger who set up these legal templates for bloggers like us who couldn't afford to hire an actual lawyer to do all these things for us. And I cannot believe how easy it was. You just get a Google Doc of the contract, and then there's instructions on what you need to change to match your own blog, like putting your own name in there. Or if you're in California, you might need this thing. Or if you're in the EU, you might need this thing on your site. And it walks you through step by step everything that you need to do, because otherwise I would have no idea what in the world that I needed. I didn't even know you needed a terms and conditions page. I never even had that. When I first started my blog, I just Googled a random private policy contract and copied and pasted that onto my site. And don't recommend that. That could have went really, really badly because it was just some random template that I found on Google that I don't even know if it was correct. So it's nice to have these templates because it's from an actual lawyer who is also a blogger who knows all the things that you need to have in order to protect your site. And if anything changes, you get free updates as well so that you can make sure that you're fully protected even in the future. So I would recommend that. I'll leave them down below, the bundle that I bought. Just make sure you're legally protected. That is like the main thing here. The next mistake is a little bit less heavy, but it is still just as important, and it's just wasting time on non-ROI tasks or unimportant tasks. And if you don't know what ROI means, it stands for return on investment. The investment, more than likely in this case being time, but also potentially money if you're investing in the wrong things. When it comes to blogging, there are a lot of different things that you could be doing. There are so many different little teeny tiny tasks that need to get done that could just take hours upon hours of your time that really don't matter that much. So if you find yourself taking on these random little tiny tasks to work, you might feel like you're working, but you're actually not. Or maybe there's like a task that you're avoiding, like, oh, I know I need to like go live on my Instagram, but I would rather tweak my Instagram about or something instead of doing that. I feel like that can happen a lot. Or you just think that something's way more important than it actually is, and it's not actually giving you a return on your investment. And you might be procrastinating on a task, like a money-making task, because it's like you're afraid of messing up. you are just hoping everything needs to be perfect, because perfectionism is just one step away from procrastination. It's kind of like you trying to be perfect is just a way to procrastinate because you want everything to be perfect and it's not going to be. Or you don't know if it's the right move to make, so you just make no moves at all. Or maybe it's like a boring but a necessary task. These are all types of things that could make you procrastinate and work on things that are not important, but you want to work, so you do them anyway. But what would I consider a non-ROI task? Now, there are a ton of them, but the ones that I know that I used to worry about a lot was like updating your Instagram bio and making sure your grid looks perfect. Do you remember back in the day, people used to try to make their grid line up perfectly so these 9 squares looked absolutely perfect? Now I don't feel like I worry about that anymore. So I feel like a lot of people do not care about that anymore, especially with Reels, but that's a whole other story. Tweaking your site until it looks absolutely perfect, rewriting your about page, or just like tweaking your brand colors, checking your emails 10 times a day. These are all things that I used to do because I wanted to work, but I didn't want to actually work. And then things that I feel like you should be working on, things that are going to give you a return on your investment, they're going to make you money, is things like keyword researching your next blog post and writing it. Updating your old blog posts to have better keywords, more affiliate opportunities. Maybe you put in an email sign up in there, and just making your old blog post better. Now, this is a sneaky one because it could be a super time waster. Like, I'd rather just go through my old blog post as opposed to writing a brand new one. So you gotta be careful with that one. But updating your old blog post when there's like nothing else to do might not be a bad idea as well. You could be planning out your content strategy and actually executing it. Because I feel like this, again, another potential time waster. You plan so much that you never actually do the execution. The execution part here is key. You have to plan, but then also execute. Tons and tons of different things that are actually going to bring you a return on your investment. The fourth mistake I see beginner bloggers making is being afraid to invest in blogging tools. Now, one of these things could be not investing in a website and doing a free blog instead, but there are a lot of things that you could potentially invest in order to make your blogging journey go a lot quicker and a lot smoother. Now, I'm not saying that you need to invest in every single tool that is recommended to you, but don't be afraid to invest in something that seems smart, because time is the most valuable asset that we have. So if you can invest in a blogging course that teaches you how to blog and you know that you're going to follow through with it and you know that it's going to be helpful, then buy that course and don't waste time with a ton of free resources that are not going to give you the full picture. Time is the most valuable asset we have. So if you can cut down on that learning time by investing in a blogging tool, then that is just going to only benefit you. And maybe I am one of those people that you trust online to give you good blogging recommendations. So here's a few things that I would invest in when I was first starting. Hosting, as I mentioned, I would either go with SiteGround or Bluehost. If you're a very beginner, Bluehost, like I said, might be better. So both of those will be linked down below. I would do the legal pages, as I already mentioned. Make sure that you are set up legally and protected. And then any other learning courses or ebooks that you can think about. I currently have one course available, which is called Pinterest Simplicity. So if you're following me for my Pinterest knowledge, I have a course up called Pinterest Simplicity, if that's something you're interested in. But again, don't invest in everything. So maybe a Pinterest course is something that would work for you. Maybe it's not. But the Pinterest course specifically is going to help you grow your Pinterest account and drive traffic back to your blog. And if you want to do any sales at all, you need traffic to your blog. And in my opinion, Pinterest is the best way to get that traffic for brand new bloggers. Now, mistake 5 is not learning how to make money blogging properly. There are a lot of ways that you can make money blogging, but if you just jump into this head first, completely blind, and think that you are going to make a profit, I hate to break it to you, but that is kind of unlikely to happen. And I say this with love because I did the same thing. I thought for years that I knew what I was doing, and I thought, I don't really need to learn that much. I can just do it because the bloggers that I looked up to just figured it out. I am not one of those people that can just figure things out for the most part, at least definitely in this scenario. So eventually I ended up buying courses to teach me how to make money, ebooks, courses, all the things in order to learn how to make money blogging. And I finally got there once I started learning from other people. And maybe you are going to be a better blogger than me and you could just learn from the free resources or trial and error doing it on your own. That was not me. So if you have been struggling for a while to make money blogging and you cannot figure out what you're doing wrong, I would recommend find something somewhere on the internet to teach you how to make money blogging, because you are going to get that investment back as long as you follow the formula that they have given you. Now, there are a lot of other mistakes that you could be making as a beginner blogger. I actually have 5 more that I was intending to include in this video, but I feel like this is already way too long and way too much information. So we'll just have to do a part 2 with the other 5 mistakes I see bloggers making. But I hope that was helpful. And if you want to check out any other content from me, check it out right here or right here. Make sure to like if you like and subscribe to my channel down below for more videos just like this. And I'll see you next time. Bye.